Hey guys, Dylan from Go Foil Australia here. Just want to do a little quick video about how to get into foiling, what to look at, what do all the numbers mean. At the moment it is confusing, I do admit. Someone who's in the industry, I get confused by all the numbers, so I can only imagine what it's like for you trying to get into the sport and not knowing what anything means. So today I'm just going to go through about the Go Foil, what the numbers mean on Go Foil, the different wings that you might be looking at, the different tail wings you might be looking at, and the mast length. So the number that most people relate to the most is the front wing number. So for example, I have an RS 850 HA. What does that mean? RS is the model. RS is race series. 850, I'll do it in my normal, had a bit of a stutter. RS means race series, 850 is the size of the wing, and then HA is high aspect. So this particular wing, the 850 projected square centimeters, is the size of the wing, okay? So an 850 is not something I recommend for a beginner. Now, tail wing size, once again, numbers are different. We measure in span on inches. So this is an FTL 10.5. L means long fuselage section, I'll get into in a second. And then the 10.5 is the distance from this tip to this tip across there. 10.5, once again, probably wouldn't recommend for a beginner. Fuselage length. The fuselage is the part that connects the front wing to the back wing. This length basically determines stability, maneuverability, sometimes glide put into all that, but to keep it really, really simple, the longer it is, the more stable it's going to be, the more drawn out your turns are going to be. It might make it easier for your pump, a little bit more leverage for your pump. And then the shorter that is, the more erratic your turn's going to be, potentially slightly faster, and just a little bit harder to use, more of an advanced thing. The way that Go Foil changes their fuselage length is through the tail wing. The tail wing piece, this is an FTL, so fixed tail long, makes your fuselage longer. Or there's another one where the hole for the screw is about here, makes it shorter, just through changing the tail wing, and you can get them in both the same span, in a short and a long. Mast length. So Go Foil makes a 70, a 75, an 80, 90, 100, 110. You will start on around a 70 to 80, depending on discipline that you're doing. Most prone guys will be around, 75 to 80. Personally, I like a 75 for pretty much everything, downwinding. But once you start winging and you're cutting through multiple chops and stuff like that, you might want a longer mast. So the most popular masts I sell, 75, 80 and 90 centimeters. 100 and 110 is more for wing foil racing or like big wave towing. Now just back to front wing. You want to think about the numbers almost like board volume. The bigger the number, the bigger the rider, the smaller the wave, the least amount of wind or less wind, harder to maneuver, easier to use. Let that sink in for a second. Now, the smaller it is, the faster it's going to go, bigger wave, smaller rider, harder to use, turns better, that sort of thing. So just when you're buying your first foil, take into consideration your ability, what discipline you're going to use it in. So that's discipline is sub, foil, prone, downwind, etc., etc. Be honest with your ability, and foiling's already hard enough as it is, and that's me being honest about it. Foiling is hard. Make it easy for yourself, make it simple for yourself. Just real quickly, Go Foil, we chose to have our mast, fuselage and plate as one piece. There's one screw for your tail wing, one screw for your front wing, keeping everything simple, solid. This thing is full carbon, and yeah, can't beat it. Hey guys, Dylan here from Go Foil Australia. Just want to do a quick video on foiling, how to get into foiling, everything about it, because at the moment there's a lot of numbers and information and stuff which I admit is quite confusing. For someone who's in the industry, even I get confused about all the numbers and what they mean. So just today going to go through a couple of things about the front wing, what the numbers mean, RS 850, the tail wing in inches, what that means in span, and then the mast length in centimeters. Now across all different foil brands, all these numbers are quite different, so just be really careful on what you're comparing in wing size. But most front wings is the number that people are talking about. In this particular instance, this is an RS 850 HA. What that means is RS is race series, 850 is the size, and then HA is high aspect. Alright guys, so just a little bit more on wing sizing. As you can see here, there's quite a variant between GT 2600, RS 500 HA. Who are they used for? Well, pretty much anyone can use it, but what sort of conditions you'd use this in? This is like extremely high speed winging, big wave towing, surfing, kite foiling, pretty much anything that involves a shit ton of speed, really. Put that one down. This big one, what's this used for? Super light wind winging, entry to downwind, learning how to downwind, flat water paddle ups. It'll basically excel your downwind journey. If you can't get your board off the water in flat water paddle ups, or you can't get going when you're going downwind, then 100% this is the way to go. Still super light, it probably weighs about 1.2 kilos for this whole wing, full carbon. There is a bit of self foam through it as well. The GTs, they come in a range of sizes, probably the best for beginner to intermediate, something I teach on. And then when you want to excel into pumping, downwind, fast speeds, then go to the RS series, which is the red series like I showed you before. So once again, making it nice and simple for you guys, there's two ranges in the Go Foil range. There's GT and RS. Pretty much GT is blue, RS is red. Red ones go faster, think about it like that. The GT range is beginner, intermediate. Some advanced riders use them because they're a little bit slower, stay more in the pocket, and they turn on a dime a little bit different to how some of the RSs like to ride. In this range you've got 2600, 2200, 1770. Those ones are for like light wind winging, really small waves, or entry to downwind bay bumps, that sort of thing. They go best with your 20-inch tail and your 17 FTL tails. And then you go down into your GT 1400, 1250, which is I'm holding here, 1050, and then into 750. So there's quite a big range in that. Just think about it, the lighter you are as a rider, as your weight, the smaller your wing's going to be, depending on the discipline. So if you're still going out in light wind, you still want a bigger foil. Going in lots of wind, small foil. Bigger waves, small foil. Small waves, big foil. Make it simple. That's pretty much it on GT. So tail wings, just quickly, the long and the short. As you can see the difference, this one has a long fuselage section on it and this one has a short, which will change the fuselage length on your mast. Then we've got, this is an FTL 20 and this is a 14.5 FTS. Once again, span, so 20 inches across here, and this is 14.5 inches across here. The difference is the shorter will make it more manoeuvrable, a little bit faster in some ways, and the longer will make it more stable. It's pretty simple really. So just a real quick video. When you're comparing foils and the sizing, they're not all the same. So with Go Foil, the numbers that we use is for our front wing is projected square centimetres. Some brands will use span in millimetres or projected square inches. So just make sure when you're comparing your different foils that you're comparing apples with apples instead of apples with oranges. Also tail wing wise, our numbers is 10.5 inch in span across here, and FTS or FTL, which refers to the fuselage length. And our mast is measured in centimetres. Now not all masts are the same length. You might have 3 different brands with 80 centimetre masts, and they're all different depending on where they measure it from. We measure from the top of our plate to the bottom of our fuselage. So realistically this is an 80 centimetre mast. It might only be a 77 centimetre mast compared to something that you might be referring it to. So with all the information that's out there, all the YouTube videos, all the information, all the opinions and stuff like that, what I would probably recommend is making it as simple as you can. Don't read into too much stuff. Just go with what your ability is for the discipline that you do now. If that's surfing, it's windsurfing, kite surfing, SUP, whatever it may be. what the conditions you're going to use it in, potentially what conditions and disciplines you want to get to. Make it super simple for yourself. Pretty much with GoFoil, we've done all the hard work for you. The mast, fuselage and plate is all one piece, so realistically you just choose your mast length as a beginner. 75 centimetres is pretty much money for anything. FTL is usually the way to go for learning, so longer fuselage, bigger tail, around the 14 to 17, 20 depending on how big you are, and your front wing. Best part about it is with the tail wing, don't need to worry about shimming, don't need to think about any of that stuff. Our tails are perfectly pitched, just plug and play, slide it on, tap it on a mallet, screw goes in, done. Front wing, same thing again, slide it on, tap it on a mallet, screw goes in, done. So GoFoil, super strong, super simple, one screw for your front, one screw for your back, your universal 4 for your plate. Best part is, it's all full carbon. It's entire thickness carbon, super strong, pretty much unbreakable. I've driven over my wings before on the concrete. I've hit reefs, I've scraped along the concrete, it's fallen out the back of the car. As you can see, this is my one. It's had a bad bang, but still in good